Hey ho, SolidBC here, and today I'm doing a video on the LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur T-Rex. So here's the T-Rex. This video will just be looking at this figure today, and in 2 weeks we'll look at the Triceratops. So here it is. If you've got this set, you've most likely built this guy. So he's the T-Rex, it's just the regular old T-Rex. I do really like how the green and the tan is done with this set. I probably won't mention it in every single video, but, it's quite nice. The build of the head is very interesting with how it's done. Yep, so there's a ball joint at the head, so it can move all around, up and down, side to side, whatever. There's a hinge at the jaw, so it can open and close. There's a ratchet at the base of the neck. There's a limited ball joint at the base of the arm. It's limited because this piece collides with this piece, and if you move it too much, then it can break. There is, of course, a hinge here at the wrist, or the elbow, one or the other. Of course, the claws can turn if you want them to, but there's not really any point. Legs are on a ball joint, so they can go all around, they can go out, There's a ball joint at the foot, but it's quite limited. There's a bit of a pivot, but not much. Move up and down. The toe also is on a move for some reason. Very strange. And of course, these claws can also turn if you want them to. The tail is on a ball joint as well, so it can move around. It's a bit limited by this piece for some reason. Like, it can't really move down. And, yep. There's a ball joint here as well. Ball joint, whatever. And a hinge at the end of the tail. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the T-Rex. There's not too much to talk about. I guess I could show it next to a minifigure. If I quickly grab mine. There it is. So it's not too, different. The scaling here between the T-Rex and a minifigure isn't that bad. Yep, but that's about it for this video. So I guess that's SolidBC out. Hey ho, SolidBC here, and today I'm doing another video on the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Mighty Dinosaur. This time it's going to be on the Triceratops, which is one of the other alternative builds for the set. If you have the set, it's also quite likely that you made this one, as well as the T-Rex. I really like how this guy looks. I think the overall sort of shape of the body works quite well. And it also doesn't feel like an afterthought like a lot of Creator 3-in-1 sets can. The build of the head here is a little, weird. They had to use up the different pieces. They didn't want to add any different pieces into it, but I think it works quite well. So articulation, the head is on a ball joint. It can move up and down, left and right, it can swivel. The head crest is on a ratchet, but that's more just to get the shape correct. The front legs are on ball joints. They can move forward, not really back. They can move a little bit out, but not much. The back legs are also on ball joints. They're much more, articulate. Whatever. They can move more. They can move out. They can move forward. They can move back. The tail is on another ball joint, so you can turn around, do all sorts. And there's also another smaller ball joint at the end of the tail. So that is quite nice. The horns, they're also on swivels if you wanted to move them at all. The horn here is also on a swivel, but it's limited by the studs. The eyes are also on a swivel, but there's no detail to really see at all, so it doesn't really matter. The red bits on the arms here, or the front legs, are a bit of a shame. But I don't think they look too bad. And yeah, it's quite nice. Here it is next to the T-Rex. I think it scales fairly well next to it. They look pretty well. I think they work quite well together. Very nice. And finally, here it is next to a minifigure. I think that works quite nicely. Yeah, that scale's pretty good. Seems good. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it for this video. If you want to build it, just buy the set, and it's got instructions for it. There's no video needed. So, yeah, that's about it for this video. So, yes, that's Salut BC out. Hey ho, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on the LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur Pterosaur. So, or Pterodon even. This is another one of the alternative builds for the actual set. As you can see, it's this big Pterodon. Very nice. You know, it's green on the top, tan on the bottom, you know, like most of the dinosaurs. It's got this fairly large wingspan, which is quite nice. Yeah, it kind of gives it this imposing sort of presence. The head is nicely shaped as well, with the slopes on the side and the eyes sticking out. They've got these sort of claws on the wings, which, you know, they're only really there to fill out pieces, but hey. The legs are kind of weirdly built, but, you know, they work fine. Small little tail as well. The articulation on this, there's large ball joints at the base of the wings, so they can move around, all sorts, forward and back, up and down. So, you know, you can get a flapping motion. Another ball joint here, can move all around, and then there's a hinge at the end of the wing. The legs are on ball joints, so they can move back and forward. There's a ball joint at the tail, but only one, so it doesn't move all that much, and as you can see, I broke it. Stupid me. And there's a ball joint at the base of the neck as well, so that can move all around. Yeah, quite nice. If you wanted to, I guess you could build like a stand or something. I don't have one, but hey, whatever. So, time for some comparisons. Here it is next to the T-Rex. See how it actually doesn't scale all too well there. It's way too big. Pterodons are actually a lot smaller. But hey, it works fine, you know. It's fine. Who cares, really? And, of course, here it is next to a minifigure. You know, it looks alright. Again, way too big. But hey, who really cares? It looks cool. It looks cool. But, yeah, that's about it for this video. So I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey ho, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur Custom Brachiosaurus. So this Brachiosaurus is made by SpideyCC, my brother. There'll be a link in the description and the iCard. Here it is. It uses, I think, just over 2 sets. So SpideyCC bought 2 sets to make it, and then also grabbed a couple spare pieces that he had lying around, if I remember correctly. I do believe he's done instructions for them, so they'll be up in this corner here. But here it is, big and green, of course. You know, it's a Brachiosaurus. We didn't want to use the regular one, the hidden secret fourth build. We consider it an Apatosaurus, and then this is the Brachiosaurus. And since I thought the Brachiosaurus was a little bit more well known, I decided to use this one as the next video. So here he is, big and long. He's got a ball joint at the front legs, so they can move forward. They can't really move side to side all too much. There's a ball joint at the base of the neck, ball joint here, ball joint here, ball joint here. So you can get some interesting movement with the head, which is nice. There's ball joints at the back legs, so they can move forward and back. They can move out as well. And then the tail is got 2 ball joints and a hinge. This head design is also really nice. I do really like it. I do like this sort of ledge at the top. So this ridge at the top sort of emulates where their nose was. Because if you didn't know, their nose was like up here rather than down here. At least I think so. But, yeah, that's more or less it for the general sort of design. Here it is, of course, next to the T-Rex. It looks quite small. The T-Rex looks very small next to it. This is one of our larger ones, of course. very big, especially compared to the T-Rex. It looks cool. I like it. I like it quite a lot. And yeah, instructions are of course up there. This little bit of red is a shame. Wish it maybe was black instead of red, but you know, it is a bit weird they decided to use red for this. Like, I'm sure it does come in other colours like black or even grey. But hey, whatever. Yeah, I think that's it for the Brachiosaurus. So I guess that's Salut BC out. Heyo, Salut BC here. And today I'm doing a video on the 3-in-1 LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur Stegosaurus. Now this is a mock of a mock. So this is a slightly edited version of a Stegosaurus Mock that we found on YouTube. I can't remember the name of the person who built it, but there will be a link up here and in the description possibly to it. So it's slightly edited just to make it look a little bit more solid. I know that it uses more than one set, but it does still only use pieces from the set. Yep, so here it is. What I did to edit it is just fill in this gap a little bit because it was a little hollow, and also the legs were a bit goofy. But, you know, I think they look a lot better now. So, yeah, here it is. It looks quite nice, the head down the bottom and these big spines with the, what's it called? Nope, can't remember. The spikes on the tail. I can't remember what it's called. Thagomizer, that's it, the Thagomizer on the tail. So there's a ball joint at the head, so it can move all around, side to side, up and down. Ball joints at the front legs, they can move forward and back, they can move out like this. There's ball joints at the back legs, they can move out. They can't really move forward and back much though, unfortunately. Tail's got two ball joints, so it's got this one, and it's also got this one at the back. So it can move all around and stuff. If you want to, these spikes on the tail, they, if it will focus, there we go, they can be turned if you felt like turning them. And the spines, these front ones are on ball joints, and these other ones are on hinge, and then also stud friction. So you can move them about like that. And then there's these little ones at the back here that are on hinge and stud friction. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There are these claws at the back. That's just kind of there to fill out some space. If they weren't there, it'd look a bit weird. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This red, again, like I said with the Brachiosaurus, it's a bit off. It would have been nice if they included maybe some black ones instead, but whatever. Here it is next to the T-Rex. I think it looks quite nice. Yep. And that's pretty much it. I like this. I do think the original one was good. It wasn't perfect, but it was alright. But I do much prefer the edits I've made to it, just to make it a little bit more solid. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So I guess that's Salut BC out. Heyo, Salut BC here. And today I'm doing another video on the 3-in-1 LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur set. This time it's a custom by SpideyCC, the Deinonychus. Now some of you may know this as the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park, but actually they renamed the Deinonychus to Velociraptor to make it sound cooler. A Velociraptor is actually a much smaller dinosaur, which we'll be covering in a future video. Now, let's go on with this mock. So as you can see, it's got this sort of small body size with, you know, feathers and stuff. It's quite cool. The feathers move independently from the arms, as you can see, on a hinge there and on stud friction. So, you know, that's kind of cool. We'll probably change this to a white bar so they're not sticking off quite as much. But hey. So the movement on this, you got a ball joint at the head, so that can move all around. Got hinge at the arms, as well as I mentioned, hinge at the feathers, as well as a stud friction. Hinge at the tail, so it can move up and down. As you can see, it's got feathers on both sides of it, kind of, you know, mismatched because you can't exactly have them symmetrical. And there's hinges at the legs. Here, they're kind of limited, but they work, as well as a ratchet at the foot. So you can get some sort of interesting sort of poses. You can't get a lot from it, but you can get some alright stuff. So here it is next to the T-Rex, as always. No, I think the sizing isn't too bad here. I think it looks pretty good. You know, yeah, pretty nice. And here it is next to a minifigure as well. I think that sizing's fine. It could probably do with being a little bit smaller, but I think for the most part that works quite nicely. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, really, for the Deinonychus. There's not really a lot else to talk about. I don't know how many sets this use. I think you could probably make this with just the one set. You know, I'm pretty sure you could just make this with one set, but you know, this is kind of built out of just spare pieces we had lying around, really. But yeah, that's about it. I don't think there are instructions currently, but when they are made, I'll leave them in a link up here. But yeah, that's about it for this video, so I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey ho, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on 3-in-1 Mighty Dinosaur custom Spinosaurus. Now this is a modified version of SpiderCC's Spinosaurus made by, the modification is made by the Boss Slayer to make it look a little bit more accurate to how it actually looked before we had the one from Jurassic Park, which you'll see in 2 weeks. Whereas this one's the more realistic one. So here it is. It looks pretty good, I'd say. You know, this, you could imagine this like swimming through the ocean. I think it looks quite cool. And of course, you can still have it sort of walking on land. You know, just flip its feet around. And, you know, it doesn't look too bad. The head, you know, there's a ball joint here. There's a hinge at the mouth. Fortunately, the lower piece doesn't go down. It's just the top piece. But, you know, it doesn't look too bad. There's a ratchet here at the base of the neck. The tail is on 2 ball joints and a hinge. The legs here are on ball joints and a hinge. And the arms are on a hinge and a ball joint. Now this fin is just, you know, it kind of sits in between these studs. So the connection isn't great, but, you know, I think it works alright. And here it is next to the T-Rex. Of course, this is based off of the T-Rex sort of base. You can kind of tell that. And here it is next to a minifigure. No, I don't think it looks too bad. You know, obviously some people aren't going to like this because they prefer the one from Jurassic Park. And of course, in 2 weeks we'll have one that looks more like that, if you prefer that design. I don't know if there are instructions for this. There's definitely instructions for the actual Spinosaurus. Not the actual Spinosaurus, the Spinosaurus before this. But once there are instructions for this, they'll be just up here. So yeah, I guess that's about it for this video. So I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey ho, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing another 3-in-1 LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur. This one is the Spinosaurus, or as I'm going to call it in this video, the Spino-Rex, since this is actually more of a Jurassic Park inspired sort of Spinosaurus rather than the more scientifically accurate one, like I reviewed 2 weeks ago. So this uses, I think, about 2 sets. It also uses the head from a custom Deinonychus from another YouTuber. This is, of course, made by SpiderCC. It has, you know, longer arms than the regular T-Rex, as you can see. They are on 2 ball joints and a hinge at the hand. The neck is on a ratchet here and a ball joint at the head, along with a hinge at the mouth. Legs are on a ball joint. Feet are on a limited ball joint, and the middle toe is on a hinge. The tail is on a ball joint, but if you move it too much, it will pop the spine off. There's a ball joint in the middle of the tail and a hinge at the end of the tail. So yeah, there it is. It looks kind of cool. I like it. And of course, as always, here it is next to the T-Rex. Their sizing isn't too dissimilar. They're about the same size. It's just Spinosaurus has a spine, a different head, and longer arms. Here it is next to a minifigure. See the size of it there. And just because, I feel like, they're both Spinosauruses, here it is next to the scientifically accurate Spinosaurus. Come on. Stand up. There we go. Yep, there we go. You can see they're quite different, but I do quite like how this one looks as well as how this one looks. I know that some people might only want this one, some people might only want this one, which makes sense. People have different preferences of what a Spinosaurus is to them. But, I like having both of them and having this one as a Spino Rex, which is, if you didn't know, an original dinosaur. It's not an existing dinosaur. But, yeah, that's about it for this video. So I guess that's Salut, BC, out. Hey, Salut, BC here, and today I'm doing another video on a custom 3-in-1 LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur set. This time is on a custom Ankylosaurus. Now, this one is personally by me, and this is one of the first that this is the first that I made. The first full-sized one that I made. So it's not great. It definitely could be better. I definitely think that this Ankylosaurus could be better, and who knows, maybe at some point I'll build another one, but I definitely do want to keep this one. So yeah, here it is. It's a little short, but hey, it's got this big bulbous tail, which it should have, like a sledgehammer, and it's got these little horns on its head, and it's got the spikes along its back, so I think it looks alright. So the head is on a ball joint. It can move around, although it's a little bit limited by this piece and the horns here. The mouth is on a hinge, or a ratchet even, so it can open and close. And these, studs act a little bit like teeth. The front legs are on ball joints, but they only move out. They can move forward and back a little bit, and also lifting them up does break the back a little bit. The back legs are also on ball joints. They can move back and forwards and out a little bit. And the tail is on a ball joint. Unfortunately, it seems like this ball joint might be cracking a little bit, because it does feel very loose. But I might replace it at some point. So yeah, I've done instructions for this. If you want to check them out, they should be linked up in the iCard up there, or the playlist of all the instructions that we have either made or used will be up in the iCard. So you can look in that playlist and you should find it in there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the overall build. I guess we can compare it next to the T-Rex. The scaling could probably be a bit better. Like, maybe the Ankylosaurus should be a little bit longer, or maybe a bit bigger just in general. But, I don't think this looks too awful. You could see maybe the T-Rex trying to, bite its leg off, and the Ankylosaurus goes like, bah, Who knows? And I'll quickly say the reason that I built the Ankylosaurus first is because it is my personal favourite dinosaur. I just think the Ankylosaurus is really cool. And I think I did alright with this. Now, you may know that I have done a video on the Ankylosaurus before, but since I'm doing this video this series of videos where I go through every single dinosaur, I thought I'd include it anyway. So I'm going to do a video on each dinosaur, if you haven't realised already. But yeah, I'm just kind of rambling now, so I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Mighty Dinosaur Custom Pachycephalosaurus. So here it is. As you may be able to tell, this uses a similar body to the Velociraptor, just without the feathers and with a slightly modified head. So you can see this head here, it's got the sort of round shape with this sort of bumps on it. We didn't have a regular plate, so we had to use a round one here, unfortunately, but it doesn't look all that bad. I think the tail might be a bit longer. Yeah, the head is on a ball joint, so it can move all around. The arms are on hinges. The legs are on hinges and the feet are on ratchets. And the tail is also on a ball joint. Not really a lot to say for this. A playlist to all of the instructions that we have made and used will be up there. Whether or not this guy will have instructions, I don't know. I'll have to wait for SpideyCC to make them. But, yep, that's about it for that. So here it is next to the T-Rex, if I can get it to stand up. There's the T-Rex. Doesn't look too bad. There, that lighting's a bit better, isn't it? And here it is next to a minifigure. But yeah, that's about it for these two. Well, this guy. So I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on the 3-in-1 LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur Custom Parasaurolophus. Now this is by a YouTuber called Dinosaur, and there will be a link to their video up in the corner up here. Now, let's take a look at this. I think this looks pretty damn cool. The whole shape of it just looks really nice. The forelegs, you can even move up onto its hind legs if you want to. I think this actually works really, really well for a Parasaurolophus. You've got the crest detailing, which looks really, really nice. There's a little bit of red here, and the tan gets broken up by a bit of green here. But, you know, for the most part, I think it looks quite nice. There's these little bits that flay off the edge here, which don't look the best, but, you know, I don't think they ruin it. Now, for movement on this guy, there are ball joints at the legs. They can move out as well as forwards and backs. There are limited ball joints at the feet. They can move up and down, and a little bit of tilt, as well as a little bit in and out. The arms are on swivels, as well as a ratchet at the elbow, I guess, and a hinge at the foot. There is a ball joint at the base of the tail and halfway down the tail. There's a ball joint at the base of the neck, as well as the base of the head. Now, the way that the arms are constructed here is actually really, really interesting. If you take a look here, there's this clip piece with a bar running through it with these pieces on. It's, you know, kind of cool. Here it is next to the T-Rex. You know, it's actually pretty similarly sized to the T-Rex. I'm not sure if this is accurate scaling. Maybe it should be a bit smaller, but I don't think it looks all too bad. And here it is next to a minifigure. And yeah, that's about it for this video. So I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Mighty Dinosaur Custom Plesiosaur by Brick Ideas. So here it is, and I gotta say, I quite like how this looks. Now, I think we might have modified this a little bit to get some specific coloured pieces, but here and there. But, you know, for the most part, this is how the tutorial shows how to make it. I think that this actually looks pretty nice. You know, it's got, you know, this... It's a different build from other things, you know, so, you know, it's quite nice. It's got a ball joint at the base of the neck here. It's got a hinge in the middle of the neck and a ball joint at the head. It's got larger ball joints at the front fins and larger ones at smaller ones at the back even. And there's a little ball joint at the tail. An interesting build thing here. I think this is quite cool. Got these pins and they just go in there. That's quite nice. And then there's this tiny little claw on the tail for some reason. You could probably just remove that. It's not really that big deal. Yeah. Now let's see this next to the T-Rex. There it is. Obviously, I think this is way too big, but it doesn't really look all that bad. And then here it is next to a minifigure. And yeah, there'll be a link up here to the instruction playlist. And yeah, that's about it for this video. So I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Mighty Dinosaur Custom Mosasaurus by Brick Ideas. So, as you can see, here it is. This uses one set to create it. The instructions playlist will be linked up there. So, let's take a look. I kind of like this. It may be a little bit too small, but it's At least it's not as big as the Mosasaurus was in Jurassic Park, or Jurassic World, which, in case if you didn't know, was way too big. Anyway, here it is. It's got a small ball joint at the head that you can move around, looks left and right, up and down. There is a hinge at the jaw that allows you to open and close. There's a ball joint at the front fins that can move all about, and smaller ball joints at the back fins. There's a ball joint at the tail, and another ball joint at the tail. There is this little hole here, which you could fill in if you wanted to with some extra pieces, but it's not really that big of an issue. Then there's this little bit that you can peg a clip onto if you felt like it. And then there's ratchets here and some other bits of ratchets here, so you can, if you really feel like it, untab it and plug it up there, which looks very goofy. So here is the Mosasaurus next to a T-Rex. As I said earlier, probably a little bit too small, but I think for the most part it looks alright. And here it is next to a minifigure as well. And here you can see that there are some white strips here. Those are the teeth poking through. You can also see these two orange plates here. Those are just to fill up some space. Very similar construction as the T-Rex head, as you can see there. But, you know, still, as you can see there, it's still unique enough to look quite different. You can see there's also these little bits here that kind of flay off to the side. But that is about it for this video. So I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey ho, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Mighty Dinosaur custom Styracosaurus. So as you can see, this is obviously using the base Triceratops model, with, you know, obviously too many pieces for it to be made with one set. I think we modified the head a little bit to make it look a little better, using some spare pieces. You can see we've got some spikes on the bottom. We changed this horn to the larger one. We removed the two horns here and added all of these spikes here. But besides that, it's still the same as the regular Triceratops. So it still has the same rough movement. You know, the legs are on a ball joint. The front legs are on a very limited ball joint. Tail has two small ball joints. And the head is on a ball joint, but of course the larger head crest limits it even more than before. Speaking of the original Triceratops, here it is. You know, they look pretty good next to one another, I would say. And here it is next to the T-Rex. And finally, here it is next to a minifigure. That's pretty much it for the Styracosaurus. You probably don't need instructions to build this. You could probably just look at it and figure it out. But I will still leave a link to the instructions playlist up here anyway. I do not believe there are instructions for this guy in it, but feel free to browse it and build anything that is. But that's about it for this video, so I guess that's Salut BC out. Hey, Salut BC here, and today I'm doing a video on the 3-in-1 LEGO Creator Mighty Dinosaur Dilophosaurus Mock. As you can probably tell, this is based off of the Deinonychus Mock that I showed off a few weeks ago. The body is mainly the same, but most of the differences are in the head. As you can see, it does not have the feathers that the Deinonychus had, and the head is quite a different shape, allowing for these head crest pieces. So the Deinonychus is the one from Jurassic Park that had the mane and spit venom. But if you're as much as a dino nerd as I am, which, let's be honest, isn't much, then you'll know that that isn't accurate to the dinosaur in the slightest, which is why I made it so that these can easily be popped off. And it's still distinguishable from the Deinonychus. So the movement on this guy is pretty good. Unfortunately, when we built this, we didn't have enough ball joints. I could probably change that now, but at the moment, there's just this hinge. In fact, after this video, I'll probably go and change that to a ball joint. There is a ball joint here at the tail, as well as hinges at the legs and ratchets at the feet. And there are hinges here at the arms. Of course, with the mane on, if it were a ball joint, it would of course have less movement, but I cannot show that since there is no ball joint. So for size, here it is next to the T-Rex. And here it is next to a minifigure. But that's about it for this video. There will be a link to the instructions playlist up here. I don't think this guy currently has instructions, but once they're done, they'll be in that playlist. So I guess that's Salut BC out.